Okay, we have a little mini blender, pink sea salt, black pepper, oil, and for this particular pesto we're throwing a little bit of dried basil, and then we have in the bowl fresh parsley and garlic. Alright, so pesto is easy. You can do it with parsley, you can do it with basil, do it with a lot of different herbs, but the most popular people use for cooking, the most versatile for all dishes, is basil or parsley. So whenever you get fresh basil or parsley, you have lots of it. You want to make a bunch of pesto and then just freeze it. So, take some garlic. And then take some. For the parsley, I just cut the ends off, like the long stems, but there's still stems in there, and it's okay if there's stems inside. Just cut off the excess stems at the bottom. Now, fancy chefs, when they make pesto, sometimes at the end, after they make it, they'll also add in, after it's blended, they'll add in pine nuts or some kind of light nut. It's not necessary, but it is something you can do if you want to fancy it up. And then we're going to take oil. You want lots of oil and lots of garlic in this. These are the two main things here. And just you want to be pretty generous with salt, because really you're going to use pesto to augment other dishes, to either fry things in or rub things on or in, rub it into pasta, augment a soup or stew, rub it on a roast. So it's meant to add flavor, so that's why you want to put lots of oil. Oil is the carrier here, so this is an oily dish. So, but you want lots of garlic for flavor, and you want to be a little decent on the salt. Basically, the pesto becomes your quick cheat for flavoring something. Instead of adding all these herbs and stuff, you just take a chunk of your pesto, throw it in, and your seasoning is done. So I put some salt, only because this is parsley. I'm going to put just a little bit of dried basil. But if it was any other kind of pesto, meaning it is from a herb, then you wouldn't need to add a dried herb. I'm just putting a teeny bit in just to augment the parsley a bit. But any other, if it wasn't parsley, then yeah, you don't need to add a dry herb. All right, and then I'm doing this with two hands here filming, so I'm going to put this down and put some black pepper. All right, and we put the lid on. All right, let's check out the consistency here. That's about right. You want it to be very oily, kind of liquidy a bit. So yeah, I would say that's pretty decent. That's generally what you want it to look like, something in that ballpark. It's not an exact thing, but that's it. And then you can use little containers like this or whatever you have handy, and you pour them in and freeze them. Doesn't take up a lot of room. And then in a pinch, when you want to season something but you really want to knock it out of the park, you go to your pestos, your pre-made pestos. Next time you get basil, definitely do it with basil. But yeah, so for pasta, you would just cook the pasta, and then you would, once it's done and drained, then you would just take this and throw this in it. thaw it first, or don't cook it, but just warm it up, or thaw it, either or, and then just roll the cooked pasta in it, and throw in your meat, your sausage, and you're done. And with roast, like I said, just rub it over the roast. You can throw a chunk in. I do it all the time to augment soup. If I'm lazy and I don't want to season the soup, I just grab some pesto and throw that in. Or if I'm doing a lentil dish or any kind of stew dish, and again, I'm feeling lazy for seasoning, then I just use pesto because it's got everything in there. It's got the salt, it's got the pepper, it's got the garlic, it's got the oil, and then whatever herb you're using. So this is the professional cook's mega seasoning cheat way to cheat, because again, you have it on hand, but because it's frozen, it tastes fresh. It'll taste like you put fresh herbs in. There's really no comparison between dry herbs and using fresh herbs. All right, so there you go. That's how you make pesto.